The United Nations Security Council is set to meet in an emergency session today to discuss the escalating crisis in Myanmar after the army staged a coup and arrested the civilian leaders of the government, including Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. This coup came after the country's army generals claimed there was massive fraud in last November's election when Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy won in a landslide. Myanmar's Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is now in charge of the country and has vowed to rule for a year. Kyaw Win is the founder and executive director of the Burma Human Rights Network, who joins us from London. Kyaw Win, welcome to RM Breakfast.
Hi, good morning.
It's difficult getting first-hand, up-to-date information out of Myanmar at the moment because the mobile networks are down, the internet's down in the major cities. What have you been able to hear about what's going on the ground?
Well, my team has been able to send some current information that the NLD offices in major cities, their head offices in some regional offices also has been sealed by the military and the police, and they've been searched and taken some documents and papers from there. Also, we haven't received any information about so far any arrest. But I think the situation is calm so far. But I think we have to see what is after 72 hours, what's going to happen, whether any movement from the public's going to, because this situation is, it is very heartbreaking and frustrating because a publicly elected government has been taken down by the military, who committed genocide and mass murder and crime against humanity has been committed in several decades.
And in terms of the claims that the military have made about the election on the November the 8th, as I mentioned, it was a landslide from Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy. The military says it was fraudulent. Is there evidence of significant fraud?
We have so far, we haven't seen any fraudulent, any evidence of fraudulent or any cheating or anything. But this is the one-sided accusation from the military in order to justify the coup. But in the main reason for the coup is what we understand is, according to the military rule, General Min Aung Hlaing has to retire this year. So he has committed a heinous crime, killing several thousands of Rohingya people and forced them to flee to Bangladesh, nearly 800,000. So he is very worried about that he is going to charge to ICC, or maybe any democratic government would send him to The Hague. So he is not, if he retired from the military general position, he is very worried about that his security. So this is one of the likely he might have taken this decision that if he coup the power, and it will be safer for him and for his subordinates and for his those who are around him during the genocide military operation happened in 2017.
So in your view, this is all about protecting the military general. It's hard to see what else it's about because the military already has written the constitution. In that constitution, it is embedded for itself senior ministries and a guaranteed number of seats in the parliament. So it has a degree of control, which I think has been evident during Aung San Suu Kyi's government's first term. So it's hard to see what else politically the military was wanting. Is there any sign that Aung San Suu Kyi, once the military general had retired, was planning to move against him? Because, she's been criticised for being too cosy with the military.
Of course, yes, but the mentality of the military, you need to understand that the mentality of the Burmese military, they are super paranoid people. They don't trust anyone. So that is one of the driving factor is the coming up, international, mechanisms and accountability, which is very important too, because one of the failure of our democratic transition is because there isn't any transitional justice. Those who committed crimes since several decades, they never been any charge. They just wage the white flag and talk about the peace, and their crime has been forgotten. That's not fair with the population, with the minority, those who have been suffering since several decades on all the various kind of human violations. So one of the factor is that this is the general, for his safety and security, he want to do this. And also, there are several factors that they have also severe and very strong economic interests in Burma, which they never want to lose it. So this is one of the key factor, that they control the power and they control the economic interests of the military. So that is one of the main factor, I think.
Chaw, Aung San Suu Kyi, after 15 years in detention, she was an international icon when she was elected. When hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims fled to Bangladesh to escape that military crackdown, she surprised the world and disappointed most, I think, when she defended her country against accusations of genocide at the United Nations International Court of Justice. But does this coup perhaps shed some light on why Aung San Suu Kyi was reluctant to condemn the military? Did she understand the fragile balance? Do you think there was something like that at play?
I mean, but when the genocide is happening, we cannot give excuse
Sure.
for our political, political convenience. This is the very important point, that once the genocide is happening, we must stand up against it, and otherwise we complicit. So that's why we see international community and all those who are in legal expert, they all see that Aung San Suu Kyi is complicit in this genocide, and her government of being silent and didn't do anything. And even though sometimes she protect the military and she went to ICJ to protect them, that also prove that the international community disappointed with her.
Yes.
But the power struggle is different way. The military never trust in the civilian government, so they always take control. And if you look at the 2008 constitution, this is almost everything. Military is above the law. No civilian court can judge them and can sentence them. So the military, they put themselves above the law, and they are one-sided. Drafted this constitution to control the power into their grips.
All right.
But yet, still, Burma is not immune by the military coup. It happened again.
It's happened again. Kyaw Win, thank you very much for joining us. Perhaps we can speak to you again over the next few days to see how this plays out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyaw Win, the founder and executive director of the Burma Human Rights Network in London.